Well, to China now, where the Japanese retailer Muji has apologised for using the term French concession to advertise an event. I've been speaking to our China media analyst, Kerry Allen, to find out more.
Well, they were hosting an event in one of their Shanghai stores, what's called an Open Muji event. And they put the advert on Sina Weibo, which is the big popular platform like Facebook or Twitter in China. And they mentioned that it was in the French concession, and they used this expression in Chinese. And it seems there are some sensitivities towards this. I was actually quite surprised because I lived in Shanghai for 4 years, and it's common for expats to say, should we meet at a bar or a restaurant in the French concession?
So that's like an area in Shanghai?
It is, yes. It's a big bar and restaurant district. And a lot of the architecture from the former French concession is preserved, so it's still got very stylistic European buildings. And I wasn't even aware that this was a sensitive issue. But Chinese media have been saying that Muji came under fire online for posting this advert, and that some people were concerned. They said that they believed this vocabulary had a history of aggression and humiliation. And so Muji has now apologised. They've cancelled the event and said that they didn't want to offend Chinese people whatsoever, and completely retracted on this seemingly innocuous statement that they'd made originally.
So Chinese people living in Shanghai would use that term?
Well, yes, actually. This is one of the things that's been coming out on social media. So even though the term French concession, I mean, people are saying that it no longer exists. It goes back to the 19th century, and it's pre the People's Republic of China. It's going back to the time of the empire, when people from France and the UK came over and were able to secure a proclamation to have an area within a Chinese city and to develop trade or cultural connections, missionaries even. Some people say it should be the former French concession, but some people say they hear French concession all the time and they've never really seen it as an issue, even at local level. But this is a trend at the moment in China, that there is a lot of sensitivity about foreign companies and them having to toe the line in China and to show them being absolutely responsible. And we've seen this particularly in relation to the Hong Kong protests, that a number of international companies have been called out for on their website. I mean, fashion websites, for example, when you log on and it says, please select your country, listing Hong Kong as a country, even though it's an autonomous region. But yeah, this is a new one that this Japanese company has just referenced the French concession, an area that people are familiar with. And they're now saying, could this actually be politically sensitive, and should Muji be apologising? And it has.
Do these kind of things ever damage businesses? Is it that profound a mistake? I'm trying to get a sense of whether this is a bit of outrage on Weibo and actually everyone will move on, or do these kind of instances actually cause damage to businesses in the long term in China?
Oh, they absolutely do, yes. We've seen a lot of this happen before, that if companies don't apologise straight away, there is enough frustration with Chinese people based on the geopolitics of their kind of relations with overseas companies to mass boycott companies. So, I mean, for example, the Marriott Hotel, when it didn't change its reference of Hong Kong from a country on its website, the government blocked Marriott hotels on their website, so people couldn't actually book a Marriott hotels to stay in. And I mean, we've seen it as well in relation with South Korea, that when they were developing a THAAD missile program with the US, that China called for a boycott of all South Korean products. And their trade just absolutely plummeted in mainland China. So Muji apologising as soon as possible is actually quite normal in China for them to do.
And that's our China media analyst, Kerry Allen, speaking to me a little bit earlier on.